You said, Anand, that democratic argument is vibrant. I was watching television last night and I saw a very fierce.
I would have warned you against doing that if you.
I was fascinated by it.
Okay.
Well, partly because there was an argument about taxation of temple revenues,
Yeah.
but the ferocity of the debate intrigued me, and it was. Now, you could say that was a vibrant debate, or you could say it was a misdirected debate. And so what I have in mind is not exactly that. Now we have, and I should say it, we have on American cable television and talk radio all sorts of rude shouting matches, partisan shouting matches, and ideological food fights. We have plenty of that too, some of it in our Congress. That, you could call that vibrant, or you could just call it voluble. And there's a difference. When I say that democracy is not about majoritarianism, neither is it about ideological food fights, where epithets are being hurled and where there's a high level of heat, but very little listening. For the idea of democracy as deliberation requires more than volleys back and forth.
Yeah.
Listening not only for the words spoken by the interlocutor or by the opponent, but listening for the principles or the convictions lying behind the position of those with whom we disagree. And that's a rare and special thing. And it doesn't just happen. And we're not born being good at it. Listening of this kind it's a civic art. It's a civic virtue. And it has to be cultivated and nurtured. And there have to be occasions for it. And the kind of volleys that I was describing, either in American talk shows or on the TV show I was watching last night on Indian television, that's not what I have in mind. That's not democracy, deliberative democracy at its best. But for that, we have to find ways of creating alternatives to social media, for one thing, which hooks us and keeps us glued to our screens by inflaming us.
And which you're not on.
What's that?
You're not on social media. You've chosen to stay away from it yourself.
Right, I'm not on it.
Yeah, so.
And my sons do. They're on it. I mean, but they to a point. But no, I'm not on it. So we need to find alternatives to that. But we also need alternatives to the traditional media settings for these debates. And we need to do better in higher education at equipping young people with the skills, but also with the philosophical background and engagement to argue together, to reflect critically on their moral and political convictions, to figure out what they believe and why. Because unless young people have that experience, they're not going to be very effective at engaging in discussion and debate with those who may disagree. And so democracy as the art of deliberation, of persuading and being persuaded, of listening, this is what democracy requires. This is why democracy is more than majoritarianism.
Yeah.